My name is Graham and I live in Surrey, and I had a very specific need for an estate agent. My elderly mother needed to go into a retirement accommodation, so we needed an estate agent who could work with me as a power of attorney, but also with me at some distance away and could offer a complete service without me being literally on top of them. My mother had lived in Seaford for a number of years, so knew all the estate agents in town. We started looking in the local paper. I mystery shopped quite a few of the estate agents to see who was like from a buyer's perspective. And then I invited David Jordan and a couple of other estate agents round to view our house, to give a valuation, but more importantly to really understand the service that they offered. For me, it wasn't just about getting the best price, it was about getting a fair price, but actually having a fairly swift sale and one that was relatively hassle-free was of equal importance. And it was really on those grounds that I chose David Jordan. And if I remember rightly, his last words were, "We work harder," and that's actually very true, and they did. And I'll certainly say that's actually what they did for us, they worked harder. What impressed me about them was that the team, it's easy to meet the person whose name is over the door, but actually the buyers, prospective buyers, of course, rarely get to meet that person. They actually meet the staff who are in the office day in, day out. And David's got a really, really strong team. And when we were going through the sale, whoever you rang, they'd know who you were, they'd know where the sale was at any point. And it was a very seamless and actually really stress-free. And although it sounds like I'm giving them sort of faint praise, actually nothing went wrong. We were struggling at the end of this to think, actually, did anything go wrong? It didn't. They actually were quiet, professional, focused, but quite fun to deal with. It was quite nice people to deal with. And they just got the house sold in, I think, quite record time. What I liked about David was that his involvement didn't end as soon as we'd instructed them as estate agents. So, for example, we needed a cleaner, which he arranged for us. He arranged a house clearance company, or introduced us to a house clearance company to help clear the house at the end after it had been sold. He advised on presentation, so there's little things that actually we hadn't thought of, even though I've bought and sold quite a few times. He was still able to suggest what would work for this house in this market and for the kind of buyer that he thought. And again, I think it's the first time ever I've sold a house where the estate agents got the details right first time. So every time we rang up, someone always answered, or they got back to us fairly quickly. Every time we had an offer in, they were able to tell us the background of the buyers. They'd actually done their homework on the buyers. So they were able to recommend, for example, not taking the first offer that we had, and able to advise us whether someone was going to be able to go through with it. And on the buyer that we did have, they then kept that buyer sweet. I was abroad for a bit when the offer was made, and they kept that buyer warm throughout the whole process until I got back. And that was very good, because it took a lot of stress off me at what was otherwise quite a stressful time, moving my mother into retirement accommodation. And it just all happened quite easily. As a result of David and his team, we were able to get my mum into retirement accommodation much easier than otherwise, because it was relatively stress-free. That meant that she wasn't worried about her house being unoccupied or about it being sold promptly. And the fact that she was able to settle into her new place much more quickly was really beneficial for us. I think that it took us about 2 months from the time that the house went on the market to the time we completed, was exactly 2 months. I think that's pretty good going. And I think that's down to David Jordan and his team on making it happen, getting the right buyer, chasing it through, making sure the paperwork was done on time, and just giving us a really good all-round service. I think David Jordan are quite a different estate agent. They are more modern than the traditional estate agents. They recognise that people use social media, that they go online, and that they will have different ways other than just going into the office or getting a mail shot. They are also, however, nice people to deal with. They're not as pushy, They don't just treat your house as yet another bit of product. You know, they call it your home rather than product sitting on the wall. And they, as I said before, they just work a little bit harder, and that's why I'm quite happy to recommend them.